Plan is here in the mid game because he is one of those guys, like we said, who can get the most out of his units. He is excellent at just eking all of the value he possibly can get with control. Yeah, 3 more barracks going down right now, so this is most likely going to be an 8 racks. And this initial push is going to try and slow down the economy here of Rogue and gain a foothold where the creep spread is mitigated, so that later on, once those 2-2 timing does come in, and once those 3 barracks are online and have pumped out a couple of round of units, ByuN can go for a killing blow. So for Rogue right now, sitting at 77 drones, he's going to try and not bleed out too many units. It's a very fine line to walk here as the Zerg, because you do not want to take too poor of a trade here against this kind of almost lukewarm push coming out from ByuN, because the real attack is going to ramp up in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and this is going to be a huge force coming out to try to hit Rogue here. Now, Rogue has littered the map with a decent amount of Banes and Lings. He doesn't quite have enough tanks over here, I think, to create a real threat. He's going to be spreading these out and stimming, and he's actually killing off quite a bit. The counterattack is going to go through, and the depot wall isn't done.
Yeah, ByuN pretty ambitious, actually, with this rally across the map. I mean, he has, what, a dozen Marines over here at the natural expansion and a siege tank to clean this up, but he's losing a lot of SCVs. They did not get sent to the natural expansion. It just got completely cleaned up by these Lings on the right side there. I mean, that's brutal, right? Losing 22 SCVs. If he had sent those down to the natural, maybe he'd be in a little bit better of an economic position, but there's so much action on the map right now that it's hard to make these plays. And look at this foothold that ByuN's got. Right by this 4th base here for Rogue, the triangle turret taking so much pressure from that position with the siege tanks on the low ground and then the Marine drop behind the mineral line. Rogue, I mean, yeah, he does have 80 workers to the 51 of ByuN, but the economy is basically equalized because he cannot mine from this base.
Yeah, he's doing a great job with the center set micro. Picks up and then unloads back in the corner. The tank's continuing to shell. The Marine's going to close in on the side over here. Ling's going to try to come around. The tank is doing so much work, so much value coming out of here. The Queens close in onto the high ground. They can pick off at least one of those tanks. I think the other one is too far back. And instead of rejoining with his main push, ByuN is going to push into a separate part of the map here in the top left.
I love this move coming out to the top left. He knows that Rogue sent those drones somewhere, and ByuN, he didn't get the worker kills, but he might be able to get a hatchery. Oh, those Baneling connections are massive on the Marines right there in the mineral line, and now the Hydra's coming in, setting up an arc. Rogue, it's still such a close defense because these hatcheries tasteless. I think they're going to go down. Looking at the mini-map, we can tell on the top left, Rogue was able to repel that attack, but if this hatchery falls, and the hatchery falls in the top left, it doesn't matter how many drones you've got. You're still on a 3-base economy against a Terran dropping mules. You can see right now the mineral income. It's what, 2.7K there for Rogue, 2.3K for ByuN. Despite the worker differential, these units even escaping there in the medevac. I mean, it's anyone's game, but I feel like ByuN is getting a little bit too much value out of these units right now.
Yeah, he's down quite a bit on workers, but I think all ByuN has to do is win the next fight or two. This hatch is so low, he could just run in here and snipe it if he wanted. He's going to try to take a proper fight. He guns down some of the Banelings, the others connect. And I think the Hydras are going to barely lose this fight. And that means Rogue is going to, I think, just barely lose this game. I don't think he has any kind of recourse here. He's going to turn his attention to the hatchery, to the drones. The counterattack is not enough. It is shut down by the reinforcing Marines. The lurkers are out of range. This is a 3-base Zerg versus a 3-base Terran. That is not enough from the Zerg's position.
Yeah, what a brutal timing here for Rogue. He's waiting for all these high-tech upgrades to come in. Adrenal Gland's only just now finishing. Seismic Spine's only just now finishing. He just made, I want to say, like 4 or 5 lurkers. All of these things, if they had happened a little bit earlier, maybe he would have been able to hold on to that 4th base. Instead, he's just reset to a 3-base economy. I'm not sure if ByuN has enough to kill him right now, but it is really not looking good for the Zerg because yeah, I'm not seeing a path for Rogue to retake one of these bases. The income is just so sparse. And the natural expansion already starting to mine out. GG is called.
ByuN looking just nasty back there. Let's not forget that Rogue had a really important, successful moment where he got in with his Lings and just killed all the SCVs. It was like ByuN was fighting it, except he wasn't able to deal with a small group of Lings that killed off, I think it was like 22 SCVs.
Yeah, it was the full mineral line.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that ByuN still won with that push. Had Rogue not...